I was just saying, it looks like a big Desperate Dan steak.
Oh, sorry, Rick, I'm trying to fill.
After the last comment.
What are you been drinking?
It is a bit, I'm just saying.
That's not a rump.
What is that?
It's a full rib.
Well, it's a big full rib you have.
I just say, it looks like a Desperate Dan steak,
It does.
doesn't it? Look
Imagine
at that.
if you took that off there and you put it in a pie. Imagine, like he used to have horns coming out of his pie, didn't he?
So four rib is where?
Four rib beef, if you turn around, Ruth.
Yes, Ruth.
Four rib is up here. So imagine that little section just
that's
there.
a nice meaty
Down
bit
here
there,
you've got the sirloin.
That's enough.
Excuse me. Down here you've got the sirloin and the rump's just there.
That's, by the way, my microphone
The
pack.
top rump is here.
Yeah, that's not me.
Okay.
Lovely. Four
Well,
rib.
there's plenty of
bit you
eating
want?
on that, that's all I can say.
And a good roasting joint, then.
Right. It's generally speaking, here's a picture.
Yeah.
It's generally speaking half the price of sirloin because it is slightly fattier, but I think that's where your ribeye steak comes from. So I think it has a slightly nicer flavour.
I like a ribeye steak because it's a bit fatty.
Exactly.
I like that.
So here we've got roughly 1.5 kilos. If I turn that round, you can see that it's been tied and it's one thick rib.
Right.
See that there? OK. Now, very simple. All you do is put into a piece of scrunched up foil. You can buy this parchment and foil together now. Together. In there, bit of salt and pepper on top.
Why are you putting it on that so it doesn't burn on the bottom?
Yeah, and otherwise it fries and you get like a real sharp crust.
Right.
Don't want that because you sometimes can't cut through it and it may stick to the tray. I'm going to wash my hands, not quickly, because somebody told me I shouldn't be washing my hands quickly, I should be washing them.
Oh, you sound
so
just
I'm
washing
washing my
quickly.
hands.
Washing the sounds, it's quite slow, I thought. Actually.
Into the oven, 200 degrees. You whack that in the oven and you give that around about 45 minutes. Don't it? It's a bit
That's
smoky.
smoking hot because you're doing Yorkshires, aren't
That's
you?
right.
Yeah.
For about 45 minutes. 45 to 50 minutes, depending on how you want your meat cooked. I then add here a selection of baby potatoes, small onions or shallots.
To that roasting tin.
To that roasting tray around the outside.
And
Cook
they
it
are,
for
anything
and they
on
are
them?
lovely.
No, just a little bit of fat that's come off the joint.
Yeah.
Just baste them and then cook that for a further 15 minutes to an hour. That will give you a medium to well-done piece of meat, which is what you guys would like to eat. If you want it slightly rarer, then I would go probably around about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes, something like that. But in which time, those will cook through perfectly.
Yeah.
Yep, there they are.
Lovely.
And that is just purely cooked in the fat there.
Yeah, have a good look there, because they'll be gone in a minute.
Yeah, they've gone
Well,
already.
they are delicious. Stop.
Right, Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Yorkshire puddings. Now, before I upset a lot of people, this is the way my grandmother told me. She came from Yorkshire, and I've never changed it. Even when I had restaurants, this is what we did. In here, I've got 225 grams of plain flour. To that, I'm adding 4 room temperature eggs. OK? I'm then going to add half of a pint of milk, or 600 mils, slightly under, 568 mils, full fat. Well, between full fat and semi-skim, there's 1.8% difference in fat.
You're boring me now.
So, yeah, so am I. You sound like my wife.
You
You
did lots of numbers and I was drifted off.
So,
Sorry.
that's fine. Half the milk goes in, and you just literally break up the yolks. Don't go mad. And if you had half the milk, you'll end up with a lump-free Yorkshire pudding. If you had all the milk, you tend to end up with lumps in it.
Do you?
Yeah. If you look here,
I
Ruth.
thought that'd be the other way round.
No, look, see? I'm whisking that now.
Yeah.
It's in it, and you'll see it's pretty much lump-free. Look at that.
Okay.
Then you add the rest of the milk. And they always say you should leave it to rest. I'm not quite sure about leaving it to rest. I think the only thing which you might do is work the gluten in the flour. But to be honest with you, the amount towards the liquid, it'll make no difference
So that's it
whatsoever.
now. What's your tip then is there one tip that you say, you know, to get a perfect Yorkshire?
2 tips.
2 tips.
One is, make sure that the tray is hot and full of oil, like this. These are very hot.
And
so
it's
be
really
careful.
smoking hot.
Yes.
You have to have that.
OK, this is one of the things I would say to you. You then, with the Yorkshire pudding batter, sorry...
Can I just ask, have you put the oil in there and then put it in the
Yes.
oven to get hot?
Yes.
What sort of oil?
Any oil.
OK.
I normally use just a plain oil.
Not
vegetable.
engine oil, obviously.
You sound like your husband. It's the sort of thing you'd say. And then you pour in the mixture into the hot... See that there?
Yeah.
That will bubble up now. I'll do the whole lot.
Yeah.
Into the oven, 200 degrees centigrade, fan-assisted. As soon as you put it in, Eamon, pay attention, because on Sunday I expect you to do this.
Yeah.
OK?
Listen, what are you telling? That's my rule every Sunday.
200 degrees, and then turn it down to 180 as soon as it's gone in. There's enough rise there.
Yeah.
And then cook them.
And then it cooks.
And then it cooks. The golden rule is when you think they're ready, give them 10 minutes extra and they won't collapse.
10 minutes?
10 minutes extra.
Yeah, because you don't want all soft, pasty ones.
And when that's done...
And you've taken your meat out at this point, haven't
And
you?
there's
And
what you
rested.
get. Look
Oh,
at that.
Look at those.
Look at that.
That is because 10 minutes extra will sort that out. And if you look at these ones here, you'll see.
Look, I'm puncturing them, still don't collapse.
see
So
that.
they're still quite soft in the inside,
Yeah.
but they're crisp on the outside.
Yeah.
Can I have a bit now, please?
Now, when the beets come out, you can rest it for as long as you cook it, for an hour. It'll be
Yeah.
absolutely fine. This one, as I said, I've actually cooked for you, and it's slightly...
Oh, look
Does
There
at
that
it is.
pain you to do well-cooked meat for me?
Do you know what, Ruth? If you came to my restaurant years ago and you said to me, I want to have that cooked for 15 hours and it's absolutely charred black, you can have what you like, as long as you're paying for it.
But some chefs get very funny about it. They just can't bring themselves to do well-cooked meat.
I've never really been that sort of guy. If you wanted it, you know, I'd give you anything you wanted, provided you're paying for it.
All right.
And quite handsomely as
No.
well, I might add. So I was going to take this beef off here before we go to the recap. And I'll just show
look
you
at that.
if you rest that covered in foil, it ends up beautifully juicy like this. And dear old Holly was apoplectic with rage because we were doing it today.
Oh, sorry, Holt.
Sorry, Holly, but I'll talk about it Monday.
I have a taste for you and tell you how good it is.
Okay. Now, to go with this, I've got a little dish here, which we cooked earlier, which is a creamy dough mashed potato with horseradish.
Ooh,
And
yes.
here is a quick recap on how to do this, and we'll have a taste.
And you know what that is? That is potato
Potato.
gratin. Here we go.